Welcome to Dude Rakes, hosted by Marty Coleman.
Casey the Beef Cregan, we're off to a rollicking start here. And, always enjoy having you on because we are two of the founding members of the Gigantic Cranium Club.
I know I can't get further back. I'm about a mile and a half away from the camera.
Me too. I'm like, so we're the two founding members of the Gigantic Cranium Club, and we're here to talk about Clemson baseball. First, let's look at the big picture. The Tigers are 22-12, 4-8 in the ACC. Now they did win 3 of 4 in California. Had a big loss, and that was not in the loss column. We'll talk about that in just a minute. They won 2 of 3 against Stanford, much needed. 4 wins in the ACC now, 4-8. Santa Clara game was a little sketchy for a while, and then Jason Fultz Jr. hit what many are considering maybe a season-saving home run. I think that's a little hyperbole. You might agree with that. I mean, it's not a crazy notion. I'm just saying, a little earlier, still 20-something games to go. But I get the point. And by the way, speaking of that, are you a fan of screaming announcers, or do you like the more laid-back tone?
I do like the more laid-back tone by nature. However, I've really, really liked the guy who called the Santa Clara game. And I think he's a kid, like literally a kid, and he calls Cal games or something like that. But I enjoyed his excitement for the game. And maybe it was his age that just subconsciously felt like I didn't realize that, I felt like I was listening to a kid call a baseball game and he was enjoying himself. And in that moment, I probably would have yelled too. Down 3-2, 2 outs, top of the 8th, 1-0 count on Fultz, and he hits his first career home run, and it was a bomb. So to answer your question short-windedly, no, I'm not a huge fan, although I like Gus Johnson, so I'm contradicting myself. But, the Masters is on this week, right? So there's nothing better than Jim Nance's voice to lull you into a deep, dark nap.
Well, he will not be screaming. I don't think. I'm not in general. I liked Gus when he first became a thing, but now everybody's screaming, and I don't know.
If it's organic, I think it's okay.
Yeah,
and that's why I hope you're asking about I think his name's Jason something. I followed him on Twitter after the game, but I just think he let his excitement. He was non-biased, which he was a Santa Clara announcer. I mean, it was their home game. He was completely non-biased. It was actually a joy to watch. It was a joy to listen to, and we don't always have that necessarily.
Well, I did enjoy watching it, but I will say one thing. As he was telling me that Jason Fultz Jr.'s home run was going deep into the night sky, I wish I would have been able to see it. Right, the camera work wasn't great, so that kind of took something away from it for me. But yeah, I think I agree with you in a large part that if it's organic, and a big spot in a big game. I guess when I think about it, Clemson Santa Clara doesn't seem like a big spot in a big game, but it could turn out to be, as we were just talking about. Very well could turn out to be. Tigers are hosting North Carolina this weekend. Now, they just finished playing. We talk about 4 games in 4 days, but actually it was, 5 games in 6 days, right? Because they had played Wake on Wednesday, and then they played Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So a lot of games in there, a lot of arms used, but ultimately they won 3 of those games on the West Coast, which they, as I already mentioned, really, really needed because – it was a team. You always comment on my expected wins graph that kind of looks like my 401k. It's trending down. So they needed that to stem that tide a little bit. But big challenge this weekend and moving forward, 3 games with North Carolina. Then they play a pretty good Charlotte team on Tuesday, and then Virginia next weekend. Now the team scoring is down, and the power's right around where it was last season. The pitching's regressed in ACC play. Things we kind of expected. You're not going to go through the year of ACC play and have a 0.98 WHIP or whatever it was. The defense hasn't been great. I checked before the show. They're 217th out of 300 teams. Now that sounds bad, but they were in the 260 range a week or so ago. So what do you know? Improvement is happening on the defensive side. But of course, Purify is out, and now McClatty is hurt. Now, this is not a team that was deep even when the season started, and now they've lost two starters. Plus, of course, Colin Priest hasn't played this season. Very, very thin team. So, with all that said, I told everybody you're the one that likes to talk, and here I am going on for 20 minutes, not giving you a chance. But with all that said, kind of your spot, your thoughts on where Clemson is at 34 games into the season, 4-8 in the ACC, and that schedule that I just mentioned coming up.
Yeah, not where we wanted to be. I don't think if you gun to head early before the season came out, you saw the schedule 22-12. Not exactly, especially the way they started. What was it, 14-15-0 before they got their first loss? Everything was kind of humming along. I mean, we were playing whoever we were playing, but to take a bunch of L's in a row and lose series, get swept by Notre Dame, kind of unexpected results, not necessarily losing a series to Notre Dame, but losing in that fashion. You lose 2 or 3 to Georgia Tech, which you could kind of excuse away, but 22-12 still doesn't seem like it's great. I think they did what they had to do in California, and it's funny to say that too, because the best game probably that they pitched was the Saturday game that they ended up. Oh, there I am. Sorry. I thought I went out. My screen was blinking. But so they in a perfect world, I think we should have probably gone 4-0 over the weekend. But I think the big blast by Jason Foltz Jr. was big because that's a 13-17 team in Santa Clara. I know it's baseball. Baseball happens. Look at the SEC in the midweeks. Like we understand what happens, but you can't drop that game. Like you just can't drop that game. You lose to Charlotte next week, you can kind of excuse that one away. But I just and it's getaway day. Like I just feel like you throw everything out on getaway day. Moving forward, this North Carolina team, I know we'll get into it. Initially, when I looked at them, and it is a very high-level look at them, when I first look at them, I was not impressed. Then I dug a little deeper. I watched the entire Charlotte game the other night. I know, small sample size, and you and me joke about it and have joked about it for 5 years, 6 years. They are scary hitters in this lineup. And then going forward, you got Charlotte, and then you have the number 5 team in the country this week. Then you go play a Charlotte team that's feisty as heck. And then you go play the number 12 team in the country next week on their home field. So, I mean, what's success in the next 2 weeks? I'm not sure that's defined yet. You gotta sneak out a series win here. I'm not sure how it comes. North Carolina, I know we'll get into it, but North Carolina is set up pitching wise. They did not use their top dogs out of the pen at all on Tuesday night. Didn't need them. And so their starters are really good. Their Saturday guy, DeCaro, is phenomenal. And their Friday guy is, I guess, probably better. But he's going up against other Friday guys. So anyway, this next 2 weeks is huge. And then beyond that, it gets even hard. Like it still maintains. Boston College is good out of nowhere this year. Louisville's kind of down a little bit, but they're still Louisville. Like this schedule is brutal.
Virginia and Florida State, all that's still waiting.
Yeah, and I heard on CCP the other day about how the offenses that Clemson has faced are in the top 5 in the ACC already. The Wake Forest,
right.
The Georgia Tech, the Miami, Notre Dame even. But I guess the other two are coming. They're on the schedule too, right?
You only played 3 of the top 5. The other 2
Yeah.
are coming.
They're
Thanks,
coming.
Casey. Thanks for that bright outlook.
We can't avoid them. You know, so in years past, we've avoided North Carolina. When's the last time we played Virginia in football or baseball? It seems.
Are they in the same conference?
It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it.
Right now, we need that. What's that speech? Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
No, this team, Marty, this team is good enough. They are and I came on here now two other times, and I've talked about Ty Daly and how it's coming, and you see it, and it is like it's still like it might be too late by the time it comes, but you can see it in his at bats. He's not swinging wildly like he was at the beginning of the year. He's making good contact. Luke Gaffney's making better contact, and I know you've been yearning for that gap to gap guy. He's like you can kind of see it over the weekend. He was a gapper, a couple times hit the gap.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's pieces and there's glimpses of what Bakich wants this team to be, and I think what we as fans want it to be. And then you blow a lead, and then like you see it, and you get so excited for it, and then it reminds me of the '90s Tommy Bowden. Like you just feel like the other shoe's going to drop at some point, and it sucks to feel that way right now.
Yeah, it's interesting on Daly, especially because while he was the NCAA home run leader coming into the season, career or active, I think it was active home run leader. He's got 2 home runs, and that's not what we expected. But how does he only have 2 doubles? He's got 4 extra base hits in 114 at bats. It seems like luck, as you're saying that it's there, it just hasn't come out, it just hasn't happened. I just don't understand how sheer luck he hasn't lucked into, a check swing double down the line or whatever. It's incredible. It's one of the weirdest things I can remember seeing at the college level. Guys are going to go into slumps and whatever, but for a guy with his pedigree to have 4 extra base hits and 114 at bats, it's just mind-boggling.
In the back of my mind, I'm hoping for like a Giancarlo Stanton type run where, he strikes out 84,612 times and all of a sudden can carry you for about 3 or 4 weeks. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping for that coming. No time better than this weekend to start that.
I'm going to say he's going to have a series where he has more. I don't know if it'd be this weekend or what, but he's going to have a series where he has more than 4 extra base hits, not more than he has, or at least 4 extra base hits, as many as he has this year. Well, you kind of alluded to North Carolina, gave us some background and why we should be scared this weekend, and tell us a little more about North Carolina, what they have on both sides of the ball.
So when I was doing my research on them, I think I found that their best player is a kid named Gavin Gallagher. He is their second baseman, I believe. He hits in the 2-hole. He's only hitting 279 though, but this gentleman has won back-to-back most outstanding players in the regional the last 2 years. So he is a junior. He's hitting 279, 6 doubles, a triple, 7 home runs, 28 RBIs. He is kind of this. I said this in my article, my preview article on ClemsonSportsMedia.com. He's kind of the straw that stirs the drink. And then if you look at the spot ahead of him is that Jake Schaffner kid, and he's actually the straw that stirs the drink. He just has a really good hitter behind him who's kind of in that Drew Burris. He's kind of struggling a little bit, at least average wise. But Jake Schaffner is their shortstop, and he's hitting 331, 8 doubles, 5 triples, 4 home runs, 27 RBIs, 14 of 15 in stolen bases. So do the math there. I was told there would be no math, but that kid can flat out play, and he's just an absolute nightmare. Bakich talks about his guys wanting to be threats on the base paths and kind of run offense, like be that active offense, exciting offense. North Carolina has that up and down the lineup. And I told you before the show, I was watching that Charlotte game. There was a couple times that Charlotte made a couple runs, bases loaded, 2 outs, didn't get anything across. North Carolina comes up, Charlotte gets 2 quick outs, then they hit a guy, walk a guy, base hit, now you're down another run. Happened in multiple innings. And that's what this team can do. I know that's a small sample size, but that's what this team can do up and down the lineup. Their 8-hole hitter, Cooper Nicholson, is hitting 237. So for me, I'm like, he's not very good. 8 doubles, 7 home runs, 25 RBIs from the 8-hole. So, like, again, this 1 through 9 can absolutely play. They kind of have a little bit of a hole maybe at the end. It's more of the unknown with Rom Kellis the 5th. You're just not sure because he hasn't played. He's filling in for an injury. He hasn't played a lot. He's hitting 333, 3 doubles, and a home run. So he's the one guy that on paper looks like, oh, he's not much, but I'm sure North Carolina just reloads. They got to transfer, probably arguably one of the top three catchers in the ACC last year, Macon Winslow. He transferred from Duke to North Carolina. They got to transfer from George Mason. They got to transfer from Georgia State. They got and I didn't mention their arms yet. Their arms are fantastic as well. Maybe you get a little bit of a break on Sunday with that Folger Boaz. He's got a 6.57 ERA or 6.51 ERA, something to that effect. But the opponents are hitting 301 against him. I think their best pitcher is the Jason DeCaro, the junior right-hander that'll go on Saturday against Michael Sharman. He's at a 2.2 ERA, 5-1. 44 in the 3rd innings. The kid just eats innings. Strikeout to walk ratio is I think 4-1, 3-1, 4-1, right around that. And then of course their Friday guy's Ryan Lynch. He's their sophomore ace right-hander. A little less numbers than DeCaro, but still he's their Friday night guy for a reason. You always want to win the Friday night. Like that's the most important game to win in the ACC. Weekend series, so you're putting your top guy there. His numbers aren't as good as DeCaro's, but it just goes to show you what they have arms-wise. And again, I said it before, their bullpen is set up. They got Caden Glauber, who has 13 appearances. Walker McDuffie's 18 appearances out of the bullpen, 33 innings pitched for this guy. He's got 45 strikeouts, 17 walks, and opponents are hitting next 200 against him. So yeah, it's just I'm sorry. I told you before. I'm trying to think of a way to say 2-1 this weekend for our Tigers. They got to shut down this offense, and it is a very, very, very good offense. Not Georgia Tech level offense, but it's a very, very good offense.
Well, as you were talking there, and you were saying I think a hit by pitch, a walk, and a single got him a run with 2 outs. That's kind of the North Carolina I remember, right, when they were really good and going to Omaha every year. That's the North Carolina I remember. And Clemson pitching staffs, whether it is Monty Lee or Bakich or even the end of the previous era, they have trouble with that. And the Clemson pitching staff has been doing that, at least in ACC play this year, right? Notre Dame was another little pesky team. You walk somebody, you hit 14 people, and somebody, hits one in the gap. Oh, that'd be nice to happen for Clemson.
I was going to say, that's what you want, right?
Yeah, and it's 3 runs, right? And you're like, wait a second, we just had 2 outs and nobody on. And they got 1 hit, but they got 3 runs or whatever. It's funny. Well, our friend over at Pair Ratings gives Clemson a 30.3% chance. And the way his ratings work, he doesn't do it by starting pitchers, just by team. So they're all 30.3% for all 3 games. But here's the good news, Casey. There is math tonight. That's not the good news. That's bad news for you. But the good news is when you do this math, you think, oh, my God, they got a 70% chance of losing all 3 games. You're going to lose all 3. That's not the way the math works. It's 30% times 30% times 30%. And when you do that math, North Carolina has I forgot, I did the math before. It's like a 16% chance of winning all 3 games, right? Because they got 69% each game, but you have to multiply that by 3, and it comes out to like 16%. So Clemson could take 1, but I'm with you. I prefer 2 over 1.
That's a major win if they go 2 out of 3.
Yeah, and baseball is weird, right? I mean, like you were saying, nobody expected Notre Dame to win all 3 games. Things happen. Players get. I just watched the Astros look like they were the 27 Yankees, and then 2 days later they looked like they were the 2025 Marlins. I mean, they scored. They lead the league in runs scored, but they also lead the league in runs given up. So anything can happen in baseball. It's not the physical. I was telling JP and I were talking about this. It's not, the physical domination you have in football when 90% of the time Clemson's going to beat Syracuse or whatever. It's not that. It's a lot of it is mental, and and a lot of it is luck. Some of those Astros games I just watched, they had 2 outs, or the other team had 2 outs and 2 on, and you're going, well, great. Ground ball up the middle, it bounces off second base, and 8 runs later, the Colorado Rockies have won it again, have beaten the Astros again. So
that's why we love this sport, though, right?
Yeah, it's unpredictable and crazy, and people you don't expect to have an effect on the game can certainly have it. And as we talked about with the injuries to Purify and McClatty, somebody's going to get a chance. Maybe it's a Jason Fultz Jr. Maybe it's one of the other guys that are filling in. Maybe it's Ty Dally eventually, finally coming through. So you're saying there is a chance Clemson can win a game this weekend, or maybe even 2. I go in feeling good. Now I haven't felt real good about the way Aiden Canuck has looked this year, but he's shown something last time out, so I'm feeling a little bit better about that. And I don't even know what it is. They haven't said he's hurt. Haven't heard anything about that, but it just as JP would say, it hasn't been as sharp this season as previous ones.
Yeah, I think he was definitely better last week, and that's one of those things too. I'm at the edge of my seat watching, just hoping for that. Him, Kanak, and Dolly are the 2 guys that I sit like, oh, this is it. This is the start for Kanak that we're gonna get. It's gonna turn the corner. Man, again, couldn't come at a better time than this weekend. If he wants to put one of his patented 5 innings, 11 strikeouts, 102 pitches, performances together this week and set it up for whoever's behind him this weekend in the bullpen, like I would take that all day long. Maybe we can go 6. Can we go 6 innings? Let's do 6 innings, 102 pitches, and 11 strikeouts. And then you set it up for Sharman, who's been solid, right? He there was a game or 2 that he kind of got hit around a little bit, but he's been your most consistent starter all year.
Undoubtedly.
And then you get what you get. Hopefully you got some pitching left over for Sunday. You get a decent start from Titsworth, and then whoever's left behind them. We just can't give up the big inning to these guys. It sounds so cliche, but it's so true in this situation. You just got to limit damage to them and find a way to score. Find a way, because they do have some guys on the pitching staff that aren't very good, but I would say predominantly they're the guys that Clemson's going to see are extremely good.
Well, my old saying is you win today's game today and you worry about tomorrow's tomorrow. So if you got to use everybody to win Friday, use whatever you need to use. And I don't know. I kind of felt like that has been a problem lately. Like they have 4 games in 4 days, and as I said, 5 games in 6 days. So I get that to a certain extent. And these are college kids; these aren't MLB players, or So I do understand that you don't want anybody to get hurt by over pitching them. But I would say use who you need to use, whether it's Friday or Monday or whatever day of the week you're playing. More understandable in the midweek game if you're not using somebody.
I know that this is going to sound like an excuse, but there's at least one, if not more than one, and I'm not naming names, but there's more than one guy that is coming back from injury that they're still ramping up, and you get I'll say Dane Moeller, for example. If you get Dane Moeller going more than 2 innings and throw him into the mix somewhere. Talon Bell looked better the other night. Like you get him with confidence and throw him behind somebody. Like it's like that Canuck Titsworth magic they had a couple of years ago, where it was just those 2 guys back to back. And I don't know. I mean, the staff has been so good this year, but do you feel real confident in them? It's the weirdest feeling.
It is strange.
Because they've been good. You look at their stats; they've been fantastic. Like the strikeout to walks 2-1 as a staff, 3-point-something ERA, 4-point-something ERA, but it's low. They're still in the top 40 in the country in pitching. But I just don't feel confident with anyone going out there. Danny Nelson looked amazing to start. He's a freshman. He struggled his last couple outings. it's like Canuck. He was a sure thing. You're not getting a sure thing now. Sharman, you didn't no idea what the hell he was. He's been great. Titsworth can be either fantastic and give you 7 or give up 7 and go 2. I love the kid. I think he's a bulldog on the mound, but you're just unsure of what you get from the starters. I love the kids. I love the kid. The freshmen, I love them.
I think I think you hit it. The word is inconsistent, right? Danny Nelson was nails the first 5, 6. That Notre Dame game that he lost, that he was a losing pitcher in, it might have thrown him for a loop as he struggled in the next game, right? He's kind of righted the ship a little bit, and Legernick looks great 2 out of 3 times, but you don't know where that other one's coming. Is it coming, in a big spot, or when you got a 5-run lead, or what? So they just have been inconsistent, which is the hallmark of college baseball players. So
they're kids,
yeah, they're young baseball players trying to learn their way. Hey, I oversold Clemson's odds. Apparently, North Carolina has when you add all that up, that's 697, 69.7 to win every game. It works out to they have a 34% chance to sweep. So Clemson has a 66% chance of winning one game. Is what those numbers say. And Mr. Pear over at Pear Rings also has Clemson right now, as of today, if I'm reading his website correctly, in the College Station Regional as a 3rd seed with A&M, Southern Miss, who I believe was his number 1 team for first 5 weeks of the season, and Oral Roberts. So there's light at the end of the tunnel, but it may be a train coming headed forward. But when you play, to the level Clemson has played, you got to be expecting to go on the road if you make the tournament at all.
Could you imagine Ethan Darden versus this Clemson team in a regional?
It wouldn't seem right, not being in Columbia.
Right.
That's where all the Clemson guys go these days, right? They take off to Columbia. But have you looked up his stats lately? I haven't looked them up.
I haven't. The last time I looked was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he wasn't pitching all that often.
Yeah.
So I don't think he was starting, but I'm just knowing that he went there. I mean,
yeah.
He's another guy, though, Marty, that we're missing, and I know we've talked about it. JP's talked about it. That guy dyed his hair. He was constantly yelling. He got kicked out of a game he wasn't even pitching in. I think more than once, but like that energy, like somebody give me something on the bench. If the most energetic guy that we have is the head coach, I love his energy, but it's got to brush off on some of the kids. And JP said it the other day. It might be Ty Daly, but when you're pressing as much as he is, he should be what we think of Dom Listy, or what we think of Hinderleiter, or what we think of all these other guys that have come in and made contributions to this team. He hasn't done it. Like, I think the fan base, Nate Savoy's a quiet kid, but I think the fan base loves him already.
Yeah.
And I just wish, because you get Savoy for a couple more years, hopefully. I wish Daly you only get him for a year. I'm hoping that something breaks free and that poor kid can just get it going, just to where he's supposed to be, a 300 hitter. He doesn't need to hit 20 home runs anymore. We'd love it, but he doesn't need that. Maybe get to 10, maybe 12 would be nice.
He's going to have – they got 4 or 5 big weekends left. He's going to have a big weekend is my prediction. Don't know when. Maybe Boston College or Florida State. I don't know. But I refuse to believe he's going to bat 175 times and have 4 extra base hits. I mean, I just refuse. It's not going to – It might be – I'm not saying he's going to rocket one into the gap. It might be a bloop. And that's my whole point. Is
sometimes that gets you going, right?
Luck is involved, right? Luck is involved. Maybe a pop-up is wind blown or something. Who knows? But anyway, I digress. Casey, I appreciate you coming on short notice, buddy. I know you're busy, especially this time of week, right? Is your article out, or is it coming out tomorrow?
It's in, so we'll see. It'll probably come out tomorrow, but it's in. So I did that for you. I did that so I was ready to talk, because you caught me with my pants down the last episode, but it's in.
You got your pants up this episode.
They're on. They're tied tight.
Clemson Sports Media, Message Sport Genius podcast, and SEC Sunday night. I remembered them all, Casey. They're not even on my screen. How about that?
They're making me do baseball on SEC Sunday night. I got to follow that godforsaken conference.
Well, just follow me on X on Tuesdays because I'll give you all the SEC losses. That's my one time to poke fun on X is SEC. Where it just means less Tuesdays when I started calling it because everybody's losing is hilarious. All right, Casey, I appreciate your time, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
We'll be talking over the weekend. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, maybe.
Sounds good. Thanks, Marty.